So iBox Pro Plus that we're working with today is going to be a great option for any 05 through 10 owner that's after a complete suspension overhaul, somebody who wants to get low fast and doesn't want to waste any time messing around with dialing in a suspension setup. Now, this is a complete turnkey package that will shrink that big wheel gap by lowering your ride, 1.3 up front and about 1.5 out back. It's also going to drastically improve your handling at the same time compared to just running around with a set of lowering springs. Now, install-wise, you're looking at 2 out of 3 wrenches and a 4 to 5 hour job based on the amount of parts coming with this kit. Nothing crazy here in the slightest, and I will have more for you coming up on that later. So iBox, one of the biggest and most trusted names in the aftermarket community, and they've cut their teeth on the track and taken the research and development to the streets with their Pro System Plus kit. Now, the entire kit centers on iBox Pro Kit lowering springs. And if you're looking at this kit, you might be wondering, why not just go with a set of lowering springs? Well, dropping your Mustang with just springs can cause some small issues here and there, and I honestly wouldn't suggest doing them by themselves. I say this because if you're gonna be running them on your stock equipment, you're gonna be having a stiffer ride, and that may actually cause some early wear and tear on your stock components. Now, because of that, your original shocks and struts can't dampen all that added stiffness from the upgraded springs as easily, so you're gonna be feeling all those bumps, potholes, and imperfections in the roads. You might need to replace them down the road. But additionally, once you lower your Mustang, you're also going to be throwing off the center line of your rear axle, so it'll be sticking out from one side to another, which is goofy looking and just never a good thing. And that's the great thing or beauty of this package. It's all in one. And this kit beefs up and dials in the shocks and struts so that overcompression and terrible ride quality are going to be taken care of. Now, the provided rear sway bar puts your rear axle back on center, and the front sway bar is going to be an added bonus that really cleans up the handling even more. Now, I can't make it any simpler here, guys. This kit is just the right way to do lowering springs. Now, the Pro Kit springs themselves are going to be progressive or a variable rate spring, which means that they're essentially designed with a low initial spring rate, but they increase as you're pushing your car, and ultimately they're going to give you a better ride and balance. Now, compared to the Sport System Plus that has a linear spring setup, the main difference here, put simply, is the springs. This kit offers a slightly less drop, while the Sport's going to drop you 1.3 up front and 2 out back. Now, the Sport might keep your rear end planted a little bit better, but you're going to be getting a stiffer ride in the long run, so if you're after comfort, I definitely suggest sticking with this. So starting with the struts and shocks, these are iBox Pro dampers, which are tuned by their engineers to achieve the maximum amount of performance without excessive stiffness or hurting your ride quality. What I really like about them is that they're not adjustable and were designed to work hand in hand with their Pro springs, and it's appealing because there's really no guesswork in terms of setting up the suspension. Now, while the springs, shocks, and struts are great on their own and even better when working together with something that tends to get lost in the mix, are sway bars. The factory sway bars in the Mustang are more than enough to get you around town, but the feeling up front and out back definitely leaves a lot off the table, and that's going to be due to their size. Now, while the GT and V6's stock bars up front see an increase of only 1mm from 34 to 35, the rear's going to get an upgrade of 2 to 5 depending on if you're running the GT or the V6. Now, while these differences might sound small, they improve body roll and handling dramatically, helping on the track or even with just quick lane changes. Now, the rear sway bar is 3-way adjustable, and this is beneficial as it's further improving on cutting down that understeer and improving your entry and exits when you're coming in and leaving corners. But to top things off, on the hardware side, this kit will come equipped with solid billet M links, which is a huge bump over the factory links. Now, these links are a must because they're essentially going to further aid helping the car resist to pitch and roll when you enter and exit quarters, but this still applies even more if you're off the track getting around town in a hurry. These are a must because they're going to help keep the noise levels down in the cabin, but moreover will ultimately prolong the life of the bushings themselves. Now, like I said before, this isn't going to be a weekend install, and I'm only giving it 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter here based on the amount of work you're doing, which is going to be about 4 to 5 hours. The install here is going to require the entire toolbox, a jack and stands, or a lift if you have access to one. A spring compressor is going to be a must, and then once completed, you'll need to get an alignment. So to begin, get your pony off the ground either on a lift or a set of stands, then pull your wheels and tires, then remove the nuts that secure the sway bar end links to the strut. Next up, remove the brake line from the back of the strut, and then remove the 3 nuts up top holding the strut in place. remove the strut, and then repeat the process on the opposite side. You'll then need to get that spring compressor to get your new springs on the struts where you'll reinstall them in the reverse order, but make sure to leave everything loose at the bottom for the front sway bar. And moving to the back of the car, just like up front, pull those wheels, followed by getting into your trunk, and then pulling the carpet back to access the top shock nuts. Now with the rears, the lower shock bolt doesn't really have too much room to be removed, so you'll remove the sway bar end links, let that drop down a little bit just to give yourself some room. You'll want to support the axle while doing this as well, and then remove the bolts. And once you're done there, it's more or less swapping in the new shock and then moving on to the rear sway bar. Now, since the rear sway bar is dropped already, you'll be staring at the bolts that need to be removed in order for the Eibach to be put in place, and then the only thing I mention is just to grease the surface of your new bushings before you throw them in. And jumping back up front with your front sway bar with your end links off, all that's holding the factory piece to the frame are the rubber bushing mounts where you'll then need to remove them on either side. After that, it's just going to be getting the new bar in place, reattaching your mounts, end links, throwing everything back, and then heading out for a solid alignment. So that's going to wrap up my review of Eibach's Pro System Plus kit with adjustable rear sway bar fitting the 2005 through 2010 Mustang GT and V6 that can be found right here at AmericanMuscle.com.